Hey babes, welcome back to the channel. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the Be Real Babe show, a spin-off of the Be Real Babe podcast. And today, you guys, we are keeping up with Canada and we're diving into a couple topics I wanted to bring to you today about what the heck is going on in our country. We're going to be talking about the newly selected Prime Minister Mark Carney. We're also going to talk about a really concerning, luckily ends better story coming out of UBC here in the Okanagan, as well as we're going to talk about our premier right here in BC, saying some pretty, I want to say, sounds like he was trying to be slanderous things about a YouTuber that I've actually followed for a while now, and I just want to bring that to light so you guys can kind of see how some of these individuals are being painted in the mainstream media. I think that's really important as we go into what seems to be an election season coming here soon, it sounds like, and we just want to make sure that we're pointing some things out. So if you are here to listen to that, make sure to stick around and let's jump right into it. Okay, you guys, as mentioned, I feel a little bit better. I feel like my setup's going to be better today. Thank you guys for being patient with that first episode. Oh my goodness. Still makes me nervous trying to do YouTube versus podcasting, so I'm going to try my best to keep these episodes a little bit shorter. I will say we were half an hour in last episode, which is a lot better because usually my podcasts are about an hour and a half. So I'm going to shamelessly plug that right now if you want to follow me in the podcast world where I interview guests about their experiences, hot topics, controversial topics, experiences, all that fun stuff. You can find the Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. And like I said, you can find the Be Real Babe show right here on YouTube where I have weekly recaps about keeping up in Canada and keeping up with the internet insanity, bringing you some crazy stories that I find on the internet. So today, what are we talking about? So last episode I talked about, we had just heard that Mark Carney had won the Liberal leader race. And as that time of recording, I wasn't sure what was going to happen because, I just don't trust Trudeau to leave, and he left as of March 14th. Mark Carney was signed in as Prime Minister of Canada. I know people in the comment section were telling me that this is absolutely legal and it's just the way things happened and how it works. And I'm not disagreeing and I'm not saying he's the worst person in the world. I'm just saying that it feels like red flags. Like I said last episode, feels like 2024 Kamala Biden swap where he's just kind of, put in there and wasn't elected. And what does that mean for Canada? And I think a lot of people think we're just worried that people were associating the way Canada is right now with just Justin Trudeau, not really understanding that it's been the last 9 years of the Liberal Party itself, and just a buildup, in my personal opinion, of all those things. I think that's what most Canadians were worried about with the switch, so that people would think, oh, well, it was all Trudeau's fault, which I've said on the show multiple times, like he's responsible, but by the people he elects, but those are people that are backing him too, right? So as we've seen, it looks like a lot of the caucus is going to be the same as it was with Justin Trudeau. There's some players that I'm going to bring back into the next episode next week, so keep open to that. I'm going to talk about all the people he's put in place, faces that we didn't want to see again, we're seeing again, and what does this mean? Are we actually going to see, he could bring Parliament back right now, but he hasn't. It sounds like he's keeping out there till the 24th, so let's see if they call an election. There's lots of conspiracies out there. Who knows what's going to happen, but we'll pause on that one. Luckily, these episodes are coming out every week, so I can keep you guys up to date, hence why we're switching. But I wanted, as I was watching YouTube the other day and actually was watching the YouTuber that I'm going to be talking about in the last part of the segment, an advertisement came up, and it's essentially just all the red flags of Mark Carney. And so I'm reading all of these and just kind of, going through it. And I had kind of already predetermined who I thought this was going to be an advertisement from, and I was actually shocked of who was paying for this advertisement. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and we're going to read through it. And as you're listening to this, I want you to have a thought of what party you think this is an advertisement from. Oh, and comment down below before I reveal at the end, because again, I was shocked when I got to the end, but just some red flags that this political party thinks that you guys should see from Mark Carney. So meet Mark Carney, the new Liberal leader. Mark Carney looks like he has quite the resume, but let's take a closer look at some of his red flags. He works for billionaires, not you. As the big boss of Brookfield Corporation, Carney's company brought up apartment buildings, hiked rents, and evicted tenants, all to make wealthy investors wealthier. And every single one of these lines, you guys, is an actual article. So I'm going to link it in the description box below so you can go and have a look here, because they did all the work for us here for you to dive deeper and get your own opinions of what you think of this man, okay? I'm not trying to sway you either way. I just want you to look into things. He cut a fat check to help Elon Musk buy Twitter. So, that's obviously going to really piss liberals off, because I don't think liberals or Democrats like him, especially right now down in the States. I imagine that translates to Canada. He worked with Qatar to spend billions of dollars bailing out Donald Trump's son-in-law. Oh, I don't think liberals are going to like that. He lies to protect his profits while you pay the price. So at Brookfield, Carney was caught lying about his investments being carbon neutral when he was actually financing coal and oil. What do you think of that? Before he resigned from Brookfield, Carney signed off on shipping Canadian jobs to New York after Donald Trump threatened to make Canada the 51st state, and then he lied about it. Oh, mon Dieu. Carney refuses to disclose his conflicts of interest, which I've talked about on the show last time, which people are telling me I shouldn't care about it. I don't know, man, with all the corruption in the liberal government, I think we should care about it. Because even the people that have passed have done bad things, you know what I'm saying? So interesting way to go about it. But when Carney was on the board of directors at Stripe, they pocketed government money that was supposed to go to small businesses. Again, I'm not saying this. I'm just reading off of this advertisement that this political party put together for you. Again, trying to think who you think this is. Cuts for you, tax breaks for the ultra rich. Oh, damn, I guess this kind of ruins it. Okay, well, just like Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, Mark Carney will cut from people to give more corporations. So I guess as I was going through this, I was a little shocked because I actually didn't read all of it. I just read a couple, and then I scrolled to the bottom to see who it was. So there's still a couple. So we know it's not conservative, but I thought for sure this would be by conservatives. So he vowed to cut capital gains rate, helping millionaires pay lower taxes. He says he'll cut the country's operating budget. He's racking up maximum donations from billionaires. While he was the big boss at Brookfield, experts say that the $1 trillion investment fund may claim the title of Canada's top tax dodgers, which, aren't you liberals mad about that with Donald Trump? Interesting. For Mark Carney, helping the rich get richer is just another day at the office. Just like the decades of liberal and conservative governments before him, he'll let CEOs control our housing market, healthcare system, and grocery prices, making your life even more expensive for you and more profitable for corporations. He's in it for the billionaires, not the working people. New Democratic Party of Canada, all rights reserved, paid for and authorized by the registered agents of Canada's NDP private policy. So what do you guys think of that? I thought that was kind of interesting. And I honestly thought it was, like I said, I just had went through it quickly, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. This has to be from the Conservatives, just knowing how they call out Pierre and all that kind of stuff. Or sorry, call out Justin, I thought for sure. But like I said, guys, I'll link that in the description below. It'll be the first one. And just go and click each header that I had read there. Has a linked article. And again, this is coming from mainstream media, but I find that super interesting that a lot of it's coming from mainstream media too. It's kind of all over the place, I find, with the support for him. Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no, some people are saying he's a different kind of liberal that's going to help fix the economy, and some people are saying that he's just a normal liberal, just pretending to have a playbook. I'm really not sure, you guys. I'm still going to vote for who I vote for. This doesn't change my opinion of which political party I'm personally going to vote for. Again, things are up to you, so I just want you to go in. I feel like Pierre's been out there for a very long time, so most of the criticisms and things about him are already out there. There's plenty out there to go and check on that. I just thought this was an interesting resource from the NDP party themselves about Mark Carney, which is a little bit confusing because, do they really mean that? Because it sounds like they were going to do a collaboration, so it's a little confusing. But I just want to put a pin on Mark Carney right now, and as mentioned, he was selected, not elected by the rest of the country, and I'm a little bit annoyed, I'm not gonna lie, about the argument that he was elected by the Liberal Party, and that okay, I get that, but that's before the race of being prime minister, you know what I mean? There was not very much time. It just I think a lot of people are just a little pissed that he just gets in without checks and balances from what we've seen. Again, I've been trying to be open about this, so please send me the information that's saying that he went through the same vets as someone that, got elected in a riding. You know what I'm saying? So I find it very interesting. What's the point of all of our systems if we're just going to flip-flop and then allow the liberals who have essentially kind of if most people think, as well as I agree, ruined our country, the last 90s. Why do you get more? Why do you get more? How do we continue doing this? What is happening? Again, why didn't you call government in? And I want to dive deeper, not just into Mark Carney, but EB's doing some weird shit, BC, y'all, like Bill, I think 7 something. Again, I just looked at this before I did this episode, so I'll bring that next week to the episode. But yeah, that's something interesting there. So let's put a pin on Mark Carney. Look into these things yourselves. Let me know what you think. If you have any positives on him, please let me know. I'm trying to find it. I'm not finding it. And again, we know that there's going to be massive propaganda coming from all ends. So it's just trying to weave through it and talk to each other about it, not freak out in the DMs, but c'est la vie. Everyone's going to do what you want. So the second story I wanted to talk to you guys today about was a little bit shocking, because at UBC Okanagan, I had heard through Instagram, I had popped into a story of a friend of mine who had pointed this out. And it all started with a tweet that got put out about a conservative party and student club trying to get funding, just to be a part of the school here in Kelowna. And they got declined of being a political group, which, that's a little bit scary, because who gets to decide? So I'm going to share this. Let's share this tweet here of where it all started. Okay, so the student union at UBC denied on application for Student Conservative Party Club, and amazingly, the student union's VP's internal flat out admitted that the decision was made on the basis of partisan political consideration. Some were in favor of ratifying the club, considering Kelowna's conservative presence and the opportunity for political debates featuring various perspectives. However, concerns were raised regarding the political stance of the party or club would represent, rather than the club itself. Specifically, some directors were concerned that the certain views associated with the party, particularly those regarding Black and LGBTQ+ communities, would make students from these groups feel excluded or unwelcome. Additionally, some directors suggested that the club take a more neutral stance to ensure inclusivity and encourage open political dialogue without unintentionally alienating any student communities. Unfortunately, the board's decision stands, and there is no appeal process for club ratification at this time. However, I'd be happy to meet and discuss ways to support political engagement on campus in a way that aligns with student unions' commitment to inclusivity and respectful discourse. Sorry, bro. Don't think that that's true. And what do you mean I think the part that bothers me the most is, what do you mean there's no chat about this? That you've just made your decision off of a board, no one gets to appeal it. And I'm really concerned about this rhetoric here that is saying just straight off the bat, the minute that there's a conservative or down in the States Republican group or someone that does that, or someone who voted Trump, it's immediately they're extremists. Can we please start working to remove that verbiage, the way that it's like, and you'll see it in this, in the last, article that I want to bring up, and actually a video of EB, and you'll see the exact same thing. And I'm sorry, liberals, you need to stop doing this. You guys don't like to be lumped together with the most extreme leftists out there. I don't think that extreme on any side is great. I would be extremely embarrassed if I was acting extremist and I wouldn't be able to come in the middle. I wouldn't be able to understand nuance and having conversations and just being open to other ideas. But this is not being open to other ideas at all. And it's kind of being looped up in kind of safety for people when it's not safe, when you're silencing dissenting views and different views. Where has there been any proof? And please let me know in the comments or in my DMs if you've seen any of this. We'll say if it's worrying about LGBTQ and the Black community, can you please show me where there's been instances of racism or homophobia? And I'm talking like on a grand scale, right? Because we're going to see mistreatment of everyone across the board all the time, everywhere. We need to be aware of that. Not saying it needs to happen, but what I'm saying is it happens everywhere. So where's the line? And is this not discrimination? And where are the examples that allow them to feel so positive and say this with their full chest that they were just going to deny this group of coming together when it's an election year? This is the biggest year. So what are you afraid of? Are you afraid that maybe your thoughts aren't really your own and you really can't back them up without freaking out and trying to deny people? Again, I could understand if there was mass reporting of these certain individuals being a certain way, okay, maybe, or if they got together and those things happened, of course, maybe obviously the conversations need to happen. But the Conservative Party is a very much popular and large party across Canada. Continually saying things like, oh, well, it's MAGA this and Trump is really doing a disservice to you as a Canadian to not look at all things on the board, instead just label things and not look deeper into it. I think this is 100% why Canada got the way it is and why people are so confused when things happen. They don't understand it's all happening, but no one's looking into it. And then everyone's so shocked. Well, it's just because on surface level, they just vote with what they know. Oh, well, we're better than this, so therefore I'll just keep voting what I know, right? Which just blows my mind, because if you actually talk to most people, they are suffering, they're struggling. And if they're not, that's a very privileged thing to have in Canada right now. You know, like it's very privileged. And I just think it's kind of silly that we're at a place where people can do this and people can say this with their full chest and say, we're not allowing this, with zero evidence, without any, it's just, I don't know, sorry, it's pathetic to me. It just means that you're not up to actual debate or conversation, or want to see inclusivity, and you want to see all these different representatives, you know. I think that's pretty poor intention to say every single conservative is then against LGBTQ plus and against people of color. That's kind of what you're saying, because if there's, what if those people are conservatives too and they want to have a voice? So racism and homophobia don't count then because it's conservatives, because some conservatives are white, even though liberals are white too. Can someone please explain the logic? I don't get it. And then UBCO comes out and says that their hands are tied. Let's read this little article here that I found interesting when it comes to things like this. Okay, so the University of British Columbia Okanagan says its hands are tied on the issue of allowing a conservative club on campus, citing the students' union's independence. Deputy Vice Chancellor Leslie Cormack said that while the school strives to uphold academic freedom, the UBC Student Union Okanagan has a right to make its own decisions about which club it ratifies. We are aware of recent decision by the UBCO to deny ratification of a political student club and the emergency meeting to reconsider that decision, she wrote in a statement. The UBCSUO is an independent student-led organization with its own elected board of directors, Jesus Christ, governance structures. Though these mechanisms, they can make independent decisions with respect to student club ratification and allocation of student union resources. Again, so you get to decide, just because you don't agree with them, that you're going to pull their resources. What do we call that? Cormack noted that the school nonetheless stands firmly behind its responsibility to uphold its principles of free, lawful, and respectful expression of all views and opinions, even those which some may disagree, as laid out in the Okanagan Senate Statement of Academic freedom. So while I understand that, you know, you can only do so much, at the same time, when things like this are being mismanaged or misappropriated, these are actually funds and resources. Why is it okay? And the Liberal Party group student council was live and well. And, you know, so I don't, you know, so what was really nice to see is our MP for Kelowna Lake Country, Tracy Gray, spoke out about it immediately, and it got some things, and a lot of politicians, John Rustad, spoke out, and I agree with him. This has to do with the way that the academics are right now, that are just so focused on liberal mindset, that they are pushing out conservative views. And here is an example right here. And I wonder if there wasn't political pushback, public pushback, community pushback, student pushback, would this have gone through? If people weren't so into politics as they were in the past, has this been going on for a long time? You know, it just makes me really sad. So I'm really glad to see. Let's look at this article on Castanet, because, you know, shocking, we actually have a positive come out of this, and which is just great to see. So after much controversy, the student union at UBC Okanagan has given its stamp of approval to a campus conservative club, according to the university student union. The decision was reached at an emergency meeting that held Thursday night to address the fallout of refusing to approve the application for a conservative party club for students. After careful consideration, the board has ratified the club, ensuring that the decision has was made in alignment with our values of equity, inclusion, and respect for all students, the Student Union Board of Directors said in a statement posted into social media channels. We understand the importance of fostering a diverse range of student groups that contribute a vibrant campus community. We also recognize that the discussions around student group ratification can be complex, at times contentious. Okay. They were worried about harassment. They're worried about a couple things, which again, I can kind of understand to a degree, but I don't think right off the bat there was any reason for that, and it just makes me really sad. But good on you guys for listening, for making changes. We all make mistakes sometimes and we don't see that, and it's really amazing, and I commend anybody that sees that they've made a mistake, especially in such a political driven life and world out there, right? That we can sit back and say, hey, we were wrong, even if it came after backlash. Sometimes people put 10 toes down in it. So kudos to the UBC Student Union for flipping that around. And honestly, going to put my eyes on this more and see what the conservative club there does. And, I'd actually like to maybe go down and get involved and learn a little bit more now that they've been put on the map. Maybe originally not in the best way, but good for fighting for yourselves, you guys, and everyone in the community standing up, whether you agree or disagree. I guess what I want to relay to you is, like, with all of these things, you might think it's okay when a right or a freedom is being stomped on, when it's something that you disagree with or something that doesn't affect your life, right? Like, I totally fucking get it. But there could be a moment when all of a sudden it does, whether that's the failed healthcare system, whether that's the social programs that everyone thinks our taxes are going to, that's making a difference, but it's not actually, all the things that we're putting money in across foreign aid when our people at home. I mean, come to Kelowna, the homelessness is insane here, you guys, right? So it's easy to sit here and say, oh, who cares, and da-da-da, and it's grateful to be here, of course. There's a lot of people that are straight up not having a good time here, and they're getting their freedoms and their rights taken away, or the system isn't working for them that they pay all these taxes for. And if you aren't being squished by this and any of the systems in Canada right now, then you really should feel privileged and maybe take a second to have a look and understand that what if one day, let's just play a game here. What if one day there was another Pandy, okay? And they decided that there was a medicine that came out, and they decided that, hey, you know what? You don't get to take it. We've decided you don't get to take it. It could save your life, but you don't get to take it. Now, that's completely opposite of what happened last time, right? Last time you're all on board of it because you wanted to take the medicine. But some of us didn't want to. We just wanted the bodily autonomy. And they say, nope, you don't get it, even though it could cure you. And I'm not saying that the vaccine did. I'm just saying that's the words that they use. And you're just like appalled because you need to have this, but you can't because it's mandated. It doesn't always align with you. It's not always going to align with your values one day. So I just want everyone to be a little bit more open-minded and come to the middle ground of that, right? And it's moments like this that I'm really glad that we walked back, because it's starting to get a little scary out there to just say that you're conservative. All of a sudden now it's like, and again, I've said this before, I said it again, I would have voted for Trump. Does that mean I'm a mega supporter and I love everything he does? No, I'm more focused on what's going on in Canada. But immediately, if you discredit anything I say because of that, that's all good. I'm not going to be able to have further conversations with you because you're so close-minded. I don't think that way, even though I completely disagree. Do not understand how the fuck anybody would have voted Biden-Harris or would vote for Trudeau or Carney. I still hold space for you to have that, and I want to have conversations so I can understand why. Not to change your opinion, not to change mine, just to grow as an adult and have practice at emotional regulation, even if I disagree with you and want to rip your head off with all love. You know what I'm saying? I still want to work through it personally. So I'm glad that they walked back on that, and kudos for them. Now, again, like I said, I want to talk in the next episode, so tune in next week. Next Monday, you guys, Keeping Up with Canada will be aired on Mondays, and Internet Insanity will be Wednesdays, and again, the podcast will be on Fridays, so you'll get 3 different times to listen to me, because I know you guys all love it so much, a week. And so I want to talk more about what the fuck he's doing, but this came up in a YouTube video that I was watching that I want to share with you guys, because I want you to listen to the rhetoric of how he speaks about a private citizen, someone that actually served in our military, and you tell me if you think this is appropriate way to speak about someone within your own country. Okay, so this is David Eby calling Mr. Sunshine Baby a far-right YouTuber with extremist views. Mr. Sunshine Baby, you are famous now. You have officially pissed off the radical far left-wing Socialist Party called the BC NDP, and we'll go into the CTV News article after. I just want you guys to hear this right from his mouth.
That's good. He has some more work to do around members of his caucus that are expressing openly anti-Canadian perspectives, pro-Trump perspectives, and I would encourage him to not stop here, to ensure that his members reflect the values that we all have as Canadians. And I'll just cite a couple of examples. The fact that members of his caucus that are still there couldn't bring themselves to vote to condemn tariffs, to target Republican states, to be part of Team Canada, that they voted against that motion is a very troubling sign. The fact that Brian Tepper stood up in the House and introduced as a patriot a YouTuber that literally apologized to the United States for Canada's retaliation, who called Doug Ford's electricity tariff a war crime. This was a man introduced in the legislature by a Conservative member as a patriot. So John's got some work to do if he wants to ensure that the extremist views in his party are addressed.
So first and foremost, go follow Mr. Sunshine Baby on YouTube. Awesome, does way better of a job ever I could. The reason that he got introduced as a patriot is because he served in the military. So I don't know if Eby knew that, if he's just kind of playing, if he's just playing semantics, I'm not sure. But again, if you actually go to his page, and this is interesting because, again, like I said, I've stumbled across it because I follow him, and I definitely go there for consistent Canadian news. So again, guys, I'll link him in the description, and all the articles that we read today. But go find for yourself and decide if you think that he is a far right wing YouTuber extremist, which I'm sure I would be labeled to as well with, I guess, some of the topics that I cover. But I don't feel that way. I actually feel like he's, obviously just like myself, more right leaning, and definitely calling things out as it is, and definitely more pro Pierre. But I've actually seen him several times call Pierre out and say things he doesn't like. So I really do feel like he does a good job reporting in the middle, but you guys go have a look and let me know. But unfortunately, he's been getting lots of death threats and all this stuff because of some of the things that Eby has said here. And I just wanted to make it clear. I had the article here, which I'll link the article so you can see the CTV News and how they kind of attacked him. But essentially, what I find a little crazy is that he didn't say that the tariffs that Doug Ford were putting on were a war crime. He said that if he was to turn the power off entirely, and actually, yeah, even in war right now, Putin is not cutting off power to Zelensky and the Ukrainian war. Allegedly, that's a big no-no to cut out resources. I'm not saying they're doing good things, but I'm just saying, like, Doug Ford did say that. Did he walk it back tenfold? Yes, because you don't do that. That is absolutely insane. And here's the rhetoric again. So anti-Canadian because we didn't want to do retaliatory tariffs with one of our biggest trading partners, one of our biggest allies, that we could maybe work with them, even if you don't like Donald Trump. Again, have you ever worked in a fucking office? It's called being professional and corporate. Like, you might not like everyone, but you have to work with them, especially when it comes to national security and everything that's going on here. So I just find it super interesting. And again, the rhetoric that's being spread is that he is this huge Trump supporter, which he apologized for Americans for being threatened that their power might be turned off. And I apologize too. That's absolutely insane. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, you hate everything that's going on in wars. Why would you say that that's something that you do when someone is just hitting your pocketbook versus actually hurting us physically by, it's not spring, it's not summer yet. Over in New York and all there, I'm sure it's not fucking warm enough to cut the power. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a gross thing. Obviously, Doug Ford walked it back, but at the same time, it was said. And that, to me, and I agree, full chest agree that is a crime of war. You don't do that. You want to do retaliatory tariffs, fine. But the fact that some of us didn't want that, we didn't want to go into a trade war with America, doesn't mean we're anti-Canadian. And just because we like some of the things that Trump's doing doesn't mean we're completely mega. No, I care more about Canada. I pay attention to what happens in the States because it is important here and I love my American friends, but I care about Canada and I like to see some of the things happen here that are happening in the States that a Trump's doing. I also hate some things that he is doing. You know, crazy. I can have more than one thought and feeling at one time. I know. Je ne sais pas. I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy. But it's just something I want people to think about is when you're hearing that and immediately as soon as someone said someone's a far right extremist, I immediately like, okay, there's some sort of narrative that's going on here that I'm not understanding. So I want you guys again to go and watch his videos, watch a couple, watch some where he's criticizing all parties, and you tell me if you think he is a right wing extremist. I don't think so. I think this man is doing a really good job at being as balanced as possible with also being honest. I don't want someone that's always going to play the line. I want someone that's going to be like, you know, let's play devil's advocate, but this is how I feel. These are my opinions, and being loose to having that change, right? I think that's what's important. So again, I'm going to link all these articles below, and I'm also going to link the response from Mr. Sunshine Baby of this attack from David Eby. And like I said, guys, in the next episode, I want to go through what is Eby doing. There's some weird things going on here. Dive a little bit more into Mark Carney, and then I'll find a new article for you guys to bring. But I think that's good for this episode. Like I said, I really tried to keep it under at least, you know, maybe 10 minutes a topic here. But I really, really appreciate you guys listening and being patient while I build this YouTube, as well as having the podcast and just trying to pretend to be a YouTuber while I'm a podcaster and come to you guys weekly with news of what's going on with Canada, because I want to keep myself up to date. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to learn more, and I want to help bringing Canada together, and keeping up with Canada is the way I think I can do this. So again, guys, if you've made it all the way through, thank you so much. Make sure to comment and maybe a little Canadian flag if you're listening, and make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time, bye.